Yeah.
In this movie, we're going to look at the very basics of animation. Thankfully, in After Effects, animating one property is the same as animating any property. So the same way that we animate an object's scale, for example, in other words, making it bigger and smaller, is the same way that we might animate an object's glow. For this example, we're going to use transparency, or in other words, opacity. So I'm going to come down to my timeline and select this layer. And in this example, I'm going to be using the opacity parameter. So if that's not showing, just simply hit the letter T on your keyboard with the layer selected. Next to all animatable properties, you will see this little stopwatch. This little stopwatch is your key to animation. To animate in After Effects, we follow 3 simple steps. The first step is click this stopwatch. Once the stopwatch is selected, that tells After Effects that we want to animate this property. It also tells After Effects to remember the current value at the current time. A diamond shape has been created for us that stores that data information that basically says that at frame 0, this value or the opacity for this layer will be 100%. So that's step 1. Click the stopwatch. Step 2 is that we move in time. Step 3, change the value. I'll take this down to 0. Notice that another diamond-shaped keyframe has been created for you. Keyframes are the name of these diamond-shaped objects that remember a value at a particular time. So now as I scrub the current time indicator, we notice that this starts at completely opaque, 100% opacity, and then gets completely transparent, 0% opacity. And that's all it takes to animate. Click the stopwatch, move in time, change the value. Also, if you want to delete one of these keyframes, you can just select it and then hit the delete key on your keyboard. Here's some more tricks for this. I'm going to move my current time indicator in between these 2 keyframes. If you want this fade out to happen over a longer period of time, make the keyframes farther apart. I could select this keyframe. By the way, selected keyframes are gold in color. Deselected keyframes are gray in color. I selected a keyframe and move it in time, which basically tells After Effects to make this same animation happen over a longer period of time, so it goes slower. The opposite is also true. If we drag these 2 keyframes much closer to each other, then the fade out happens much more rapidly. We could also click and drag to create a marquee that will encompass multiple keyframes, and then move those multiple keyframes, actually moving our entire animation. Now in this case, there's a lower third that pops up behind this screen. Might be a little hard to see since it's dark blue, so I'll make the background transparent by clicking this button at the bottom of the composition panel. I actually want this to fade in, not fade out, when this lower third comes onto the scene. One way to do this is to click the stopwatch again. If you click the stopwatch again, it will completely remove all keyframes you've applied. Be very careful with this. So we could click the stopwatch, remove all keyframes, and just start all over again. But I actually don't have to do that. I already have a keyframe that represents this layer at 100% opacity, and another keyframe that represents this layer at 0% opacity. They're just in the wrong place. So what I could do is just click and drag and have these trade places. So I could have it start to fade on right about here, and then 100% opacity a few frames later. Notice that this automatically works. And that's how to animate any property in After Effects. It's just that easy. After Effects automatically figures out what goes in between the keyframes for you.
Yeah.